We're also learning that the ambassador to New Delhi is missing from work, and now sources have also told CNN News 18 that Fareed Mamundzai is missing from his office from last 2 months. Sources have also told that he has gone to Saudi Arabia 2 months back, and which is not so bad. Which is not so back, and in his absence, another diplomat, Ibrahim, is looking after the work. And we're also learning that Taliban refused to comment on his absence from work, and they've clearly told CNN News 18 that we have never appointed him. On contacting the Ministry of External Affairs, they also refused to comment on this particular issue. And remember, earlier in April, when Fareed was in London, Kadir Shah wrote to Ministry of External Affairs that he has been appointed as CDA of the embassy, but later appointment was also confirmed by Taliban. And sources in Ministry of External Affairs have also told CNN News 18 that our correspondence and work is regular, and that it is not affected by any individual. So we are getting this latest input on the story that the Afghanistan ambassador Fareed Mamundzai is missing from his office from the last 2 months. And we continue to have our foreign affairs correspondent Abhishek Jha with us on the broadcast. Abhishek, could you throw some more light on this issue and tell us more that what we're learning is that Fareed Mamundzai has been missing from last 2 months?
Well, he's been missing from Delhi for a very long time now, and the kind of work that is going on in the embassy, that is also very conflicted because of the administrative conflicts that the various officials have in the Afghan embassy, that who holds the power, who holds the credential. In the past also we have seen some spat emerging from the embassy, but that was kind of sorted. But now what we are learning with the latest, letter that Afghan ambassador, who is still the designated ambassador to India from Afghanistan, he has written a letter in which urging India to shut down the embassy because it has become really unviable for the Afghan ambassador to run the embassy because of the financial constraints and the diplomatic, apathy from Taliban. Also, he has alleged that there has not been much cooperation from the Indian side also. So there are multiple, allegations also in the letter, showing his inability also and his helplessness also. So how India is going to react on the entire episode, that we'll have to wait for. Officially, there has been no wording on how India is looking on the issue of Afghan ambassador's letter in shutting down the embassy in Delhi.
But Abhishek, on one hand, the ambassador has cited that there was non-cooperation from India's side, but on the other hand, the ambassador himself was missing.
Well, he has been missing for a very long time now. In fact, several of the Afghan diplomats or officials who were in Delhi, gradually, many of them have found political asylum in some third country. So this has been going on in several, Afghan embassies across the world. And in India also, several of these officials have taken asylum. Probably the Afghan ambassador was also looking ahead to have some sort of, political asylum in some third country shelter where he could live. Meanwhile, he didn't want to lose the designated post that he was having in the Delhi office. So there has a lot been going on behind the curtain also in the Afghan embassy, and the latest revelation is only a culmination to that, which has now come to a point when the Afghan embassy, running the Afghan embassy, and has become really difficult for the ambassador and the officials present in the office.
Abhishek, as Fareed had cited that there was non-cooperation from Kabul side as well, is the reason behind this that Fareed Mamundzai was appointed by the previous Republic of Afghanistan? Was that the reason behind the non-cooperation from the Kabul side now?
Well, de facto rulers of Afghanistan, they have cited that now since they are in power, they should be given the right to appoint ambassadors to various countries. But since many of the countries around the world have not given the the Taliban rulers, kind of recognition or accreditation, so they have not been able to depute ambassadors or diplomats. Some of the countries, in some countries like China, they have been able to send few diplomats or maybe a couple of more countries, but mostly the world has not acknowledged the current rulers of Afghanistan, and because of this, the older regimes appointed the diplomats and ambassadors. They have been working along, and they have been kind of supporting mostly the humanitarian work and the people-to-people cooperation that the two sides have. Not many or major diplomatic stuff has been going on between the two sides. And in Indian case also, we have seen one small mission being operated in Kabul by the Delhi side because of the several hundreds and thousands of Afghans present in Delhi, and there's a lot of Indians also who live in Afghanistan. There is a Sikh population also there. So probably those were the reasons why India opened the embassy in Afghanistan, and they also wanted to have a ground check on what kind of work, what kind of governance is going on in and around Kabul. A lot of development work is also going on from the Indian side. So in that case, a lot of coordination was happening from the Afghan embassy in Delhi also. But now with the Muzai alleging, non-cooperation from the Afghan ruler also, from the Indian government also, it looks difficult that the embassy will be running. And if in case of his departure, who will be the point person with whom India can have a contact, and who will be the nodal person who will also be in touch with the Afghan rulers, the current rulers of Afghanistan, that will be a tricky question now.
All right, Abhishek, please stay with us. We are getting some more inputs on the story. And now CNN News 18 is also learning that government of India could be upset with the Afghan envoy. Now sources are suggesting that the government is upset with Afghanistan ambassador to New Delhi, Fareed Mamundzai. Sources also suggest that Fareed's role is under scanner from a period of time, and that he's trying to create a rift between the Indian government and the Taliban. Now, according to sources, though we have not recognized Taliban so far, but activities of Fareed are sufficient to create tensions between the Indian government and Taliban. And sources also suggest that he has brought some old leaders from Ghani government to India and want to show Taliban that India is cultivating leaders from the Ghani government. And Fareed's appointment was delayed by government of India initially due to his close proximity to Pakistan establishment. So this big input coming in on the story that India is upset by the claims that have been made by the Afghanistan ambassador. And in fact, sources are suggesting that Fareed's role is under scanner, and that he's trying to create a rift between the Indian government and Taliban. Abhishek Jha continues to stay with us on the story. Abhishek, so big claims are coming in as per sources which suggest that Fareed is attempting to create rift between the Indian government and Taliban. Throw some more light on this.
Well, he has been in the past also, when the latest diplomatic spat within the embassy erupted. Then also it was believed that he was not having good relations with senior officials in the Afghan embassy in Delhi. Some trade commissioner was also not very happy with his presence. He has been mostly absent in the last 8 to 10 months from Delhi, so there is not much that he's been contributing as an ambassador. Also, we have been in touch with our own embassy in Kabul, which monitors the kind of development work that India has been, making in the Afghan government, in the country. And the latest is that, the kind of longish letter that he has written and apparently has been leaked also to the media. That also says, the kind of diplomatic spat he was expecting or trying to create, because such incidences or such major decision doesn't happen publicly. It happens through diplomatic channels, and you directly get in touch with the government and you state their problems. But coming out with such a longish letter alleging the government in India, alleging the government in Afghanistan for non-cooperation, of course, I mean, what kind of local stand if an ambassador will have if he doesn't have a support from the host country as well as the country which is representing in the host country. So this is a kind of very tricky situation that he has tried to portray about the Afghan embassy and himself as a representative of Afghan people in Delhi.
All right, Abhishek, thank you so much for giving us all those details and for providing us that context. We'll keep tracking this story for more updates.